signing can win MLS Cup for LAFC with this kick. Yes!
Yo, what's up, D-Bot? Look who we have back in the house, man. Look who's back.
We be repping the city. We be repping the city.
Oh, I think that's where we have to drop in that track. That
Donald, hit that track. Hit me with the horns. Hit me with the horns.
We be repping the city. 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 We be repping LAFC. Put your hands up. We be repping the city. 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 We be repping LAFC. Los Angeles Football Club.
Who worked on that track? It was Be Real. It was
Chavo from System of a Down. And, I forget the name of the DJ.
All those shills, all those corporate
Cypress
plans.
Hill pretty much. And yeah.
Cypress Hill from Carson, from Downey, or from
Southgate.
Southgate.
Recognize Southgate. Southgate's own, man.
The record.
Freaking turncoats trading on us, man. Flipping on us, dude. But obviously, Sonny and Mono here. Congratulations, man.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I know. This was probably, I can only imagine, this is probably somewhat of a bitter pill for Alex to swallow. I think for both, but Donald was definitely more
I was like,
gracious.
Yeah.
Whereas Alex was just radio silent.
Well, there is a reason for it. There was a reason.
We know the reason. We know. That's what
No, I do have a good reason. I was not watching the game live. Of
course.
I was attending our good buddy Rick Esparza. Shout out to Rick and the Lucha Royale podcast.
Yeah.
And we got together for his birthday. So I actually watched the first half before I went out to his little birthday get together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I told him I was running late, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you to show up to after the MLS final." And I'm like, "Oh, I got an out."
You're like, "Oh, was that on today?" Oh,
yeah.
I had no idea.
I was watching it. I was excited to watch it as a fan of football. I wanted to watch it.
Oh,
and I told you. And I texted the group. I'm like, "Hey, I'm not rooting against. I'm not rooting for."
Who's playing? What?
Oh, Real? Is it Real Salt Lake?
Yeah,
is it Seattle Sounders again?
Yeah, what happened? New York, right? They made it back to me.
Red Bulls? Is it New York Red Bulls here? So
that's funny because Rick texted me and he was like, "Hey man, I really wanted to finish watching the game, but Alex is crashing my setup."
I have to turn it off for him so he doesn't start crying over the results, right? But actually funny that we actually were watching his brothers were watching it on his little phone on the other side of the party there.
Yeah.
And so right when they say it's an overtime, and I mean, I want you to break down. The goings on of what was the MLS final.
I was there.
Yes.
I was there, and it was. Listen, the last time we had this the last podcast recording, we talked about that whole spiel about, hey, it didn't matter if we beat the Galaxy if we don't finish the deal.
Right.
We had Austin staring at us at the very next round, which, I will say I felt like LAFC was going to be prepared and ready for that match, and they proved that they were based off of the ass whooping that Austin had given us, as I mentioned.
Right.
And as I said in that episode, go back and listen to it. Sometimes it's more about luck than it is skill, or it's a combination of both. And boy, did we have both going for us in that final.
Wow. Yeah.
It was epic, man. It was everything you could want a final to be. It wasn't pretty soccer, but But newsflash, MLS soccer is not pretty soccer.
No.
So because that was a critique that I heard a lot, in the post game. It was like, wasn't the best soccer game? And I was like, yeah, guys, you're fucking watching MLS. It's still not, the La Liga is the Premier League of the world when it comes to, the stakes being raised and still them playing it's not Champions League where you still see the beautiful soccer being played. No, this was just, look, championships are meant to be won or lost. Like it's not, it's tactics kind of go by the wayside a little bit because it's like who wants it more and who's going to make the least amount of mistakes or execute on said mistakes and so forth. So this match had everything, man.
So very important question going into the game. You're being there. Where did you park before the game?
I did not park, of course. It was a great, yes.
You couldn't park there.
Shame on the league, MLS. Shame on LAFC. Shame on. I also shift this blame weirdly, and hear me out. I shift this on the Rams and Chargers, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because if those two teams could actually muster a real football fan base, people wouldn't get so hyped still for a USC homecoming game the way they do still. Like over an MLS championship. If the Rams could actually carry a city after winning a championship, why do we still have fans preferring and turning out more to USC games than we do for Rams
Your
games?
anger is misdirected there.
I'm just
big time.
Obviously, this is a side note, but this is something that I did want to bring up because it's something that I cannot fathom. That it was
it's something to hit close to your car.
We're about to host the World Cup in 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that our domestic league, the championship final, one of your premier franchises, if not your current premier franchise, is hosting a championship game, and you can't figure out a way.
You really think highly of
fans?
Philadelphia Union, huh?
Yes, exactly. Ha ha ha. Yes. You can't figure out a way to allow fans to park for that game. It's maddening to me.
It's almost as if there's not enough infrastructure in downtown LA for them to make it happen.
Which is the dumbest thing.
And they're gentrifying a neighborhood that is not capable of allowing all that to happen there.
Except that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because the sports arena was right there in that same structure.
Yeah.
This is years ago. This is decades ago.
But it always existed right next to the Coliseum. And I guarantee you the Clippers, who used to play there.
Right. The Clippers never got fans to show up for their games. So
well, okay. Well, which one is it? Now fans are showing up and now you're not prepared for it? I don't understand.
Of course. You're not prepared for that infrastructure.
Like that's what I mean.
And to be fair, USC is always going to bring fans out. The Rams
no shade on
You just threw so much shade at the Rams and the Chargers, which me and Donald are both going to take an issue with. Hey, man, we may not draw big for sellout crowds, but we'll draw crowds.
I will say this. I totally get where you're coming from. And even I said it in the chat. I was like, wow, I feel like it does make it's pretty disrespectful towards, I think I said something along the lines of like, I think the MLS Cup deserves a lot more respect. But with that said, I did say you are in USC territory. So regardless of the fact that it was the final, which, it just sucks to think that that's how it went down. The fact of the matter is if the stadium was in a different location, this wouldn't have been an issue. But because it's literally right next to USC and you're surrounded by USC, it just sucks to think that that's how dominant they are and that's how territorial that area has become.
Right.
And that's really the only issue there. Like, had that stadium been somewhere else, closer to crypto.com, it wouldn't have been a problem, but it's not. And it sucks that's, it's kind of like why you probably shouldn't build the stadium next to UCLA either, or like maybe next to Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, because that's where they play. Because then you're going to come across that situation where like you're sharing the same, you're blocks away from each other. You're not like streets away from each other. You're in the same blocks.
It's just.
And honestly, if it was me going to that game, luckily because I grew up in that area, like I know where I could park and just walk it. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Would I be walking like 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Yeah, but I'd make it work because I know that area. But I do think it sucks for like people that are coming from outside that area that don't know that area, you know, and they're like kind of like stuck with that.
All that to say, though, and to your point, Donald, all that to say, it was very easy to get in and out of the game. I went the route of Union Station. So I parked my car at Union Station, took the train, got off at Expo line, got off at Exposition Park, walked it. I've done that before, so I was prepared. And then getting out of there, it was just as easy. But
I think everybody was more
shout out to
the
Dodgers for lending their stadium parking, the massive amount of parking that they have, which is so funny about the city because here we are talking about two big teams that are located, as Donald said, within 100 yards of each other, essentially, or 200 yards of each other, and then you have the Dodgers that play in this hill with such a equally fucked up parking situation, but because they have too much of it and don't know how to manage it, in a way that's like crazy. It's wild.
It just comes down to management there, how it's managed. It's funny.
Somewhere someone made a deal, obviously, when they decided to make this joint tenant, if you will. Somebody made a deal somewhere that said, okay, if there's ever two games occurring at the same time or within the same time frame, because it's not like they were at the same time. USC played at 7 o'clock kickoff. Right. The kickoff for the final was 1 o'clock, I believe, but still. The deal was probably like, because you're using USC facility parking, priority goes to USC. That I get. I just think the exception needs to be made in a final. Like
I get it.
If USC was playing, against UCLA or something like that, the equivalent of such an important game. And I know USC is having a great run right now. They're on track to maybe make the Final Four. Yeah, but still, we're comparing it to the
championship game. Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Like you got to celebrate afterwards, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably felt you had to like rush to get out or something, right? Like,
no, I don't think they did.
No, there was no rushing. Actually, nobody was rushing, but it became a bigger party actually. To be honest,
I was about to say, were you guys able to? You guys weren't able to do your tailgate thing. Were they still able to party out there?
So the 3-2-5-2 and everybody who wanted to show up actually showed up to the stadium, did a walk-in like at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And
that's early,
basically still did tailgating. I mean, it's
outside,
not that bad,
outside in that Merry Tree Lane, or do they call it Christmas Tree Lane or whatever?
Yeah.
Seriously,
yeah, there was still tailgating, but to Donald's credit, though, I mean, people who live in the area know, like, Dick, you can still park your car, not too far and take your stuff from
go to
tailgating,
like Broadway and King and then like walk it. Yeah, no, I know.
Exactly.
I get.
Right behind the 7-Eleven, dude. That's where I go.
Yeah,
alley right there. Smart.
Yeah, no, like I think that I think that just was not the best timing, and I know that's how everything was already scheduled, but I feel like if the MLS, if this happens again, right, and if LAFC has to host another championship game, I think the MLS needs to figure out. Has to figure out like that, like they have to figure out something, like whether they because I also feel like the game should have been in the evening too. Like it should have felt more like an actual experience instead of it feeling like, oh shoot, like
but
you got USC people coming
Cups, through. These MLS Cups usually happen to take place in the daytime. That's just historically, and maybe to your point, that needs to change as well. What's funny is the simple fix here would have been if you just have LAFC play on Sunday.
That's another thing. I was just going to say that too. That was going to be my other thing. Even though soccer does get played on Saturday, but I feel like right now MLS is not at that top tier to be like making those kind of like they gotta be more flexible. So I think to let
I guess at that point you don't want to compete with football. In terms of a TV ratings standpoint, I guess I understand that. Yeah. But then again, at that point, then make it an evening game on Sunday. Now you're only competing with one football game, as opposed to 10 or 11 of them. At the time of your fight. So there are opportunities here. Yeah. But I digress.
There was also a chance to change venue and maybe go down to Dignity House Sports Park.
Which that was remarkable. I would have totally voted for that, by the way. I was praying that
Can
that
you
was
imagine if that would have been that had been an option?
That'd be bad.
That would have been epic.
You'd be asking for like a war or something to happen.
I know, right? I mean, that park has won
yeah.
championships before.
But anyways,
so.
like, let's get to the game.
All that to say, yes.
You were there in person. I saw it on TV.
Was there.
That's why when I texted like hard fought, like I honestly thought like I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys felt differently in there, but as watching it as a outsider looking in on TV, dude, that was like nail biting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Red card. You know,
everything.
Injuries. And then it was just like, what the heck is going on?
Stoppage time goals.
That's why I honestly feel like even though, you know, we have the like soccer snobs that are going to be like, well, this isn't like La Liga and stuff. It's like, but like, trust me, like any casual person that was probably just hanging out at a bar, you know, having some drinks, probably had a good time in those 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
it's funny you say that because when we got back to Union Station, we just so happened to walk out at the same time as like these two, you know, younger people, but of age, were stumbling out of like the Union Station bar because they have a really cool bar there, and they saw like us with our gear on, and they're like, "Oh, we just happened to watch the game while it was on. What a game!" And you could tell they were total casuals.
Yeah,
but they were so hyped.
Yeah,
that they got to witness, like they're like, we just caught the last 30 minutes of it, and we couldn't stop watching. And it was like, yeah, you see, this is the effect of that kind of.
It was,
game,
dude, it was
like,
entertaining, man. Even I felt that. I was like, wow, this is entertaining. Like I was like, I didn't know who was gonna win it, man. I really didn't know. Like it was like a flip a coin, dude. I don't know, but yeah.
I'll just say this about the experience of being there, aside from actually talking about the game itself, but the only other, because I've been lucky enough to have gone to a Lakers Celtics final game the year the Lakers beat them for the revenge series.
Yes.
But it was a game 6. It wasn't game 7. So the Lakers took game 6, Staples Center. That was great. It was a party, but that win was kind of a comfortable win. And again, it wasn't everything on the line. It just made it so that they would now go to a game 7.
Yeah.
Cool experience. Not a game 7 though. So the only other, I've been to a couple Rose Bowl games. Those are exciting. But the only other thing that I would compare, me personally, that I've had the opportunity to watch was the Clásico that I've talked about on this podcast before. Mm-hmm. And this was prime Clásicos when Ronaldo was still Ronaldo with Madrid, in Madrid, and Messi was still obviously with Barcelona. And we had Neymar was suspended for the game, but Luis Suarez was on the team.
Yeah.
And it was when Messi scored basically what equivalates to the walk-off winning goal at the buzzer to make it 3-2, and it happened to be his 500th goal, and he holds up his jersey with the number 10 in his last name up to the Madristas, the Madrid crowd, and everybody just losing their shit, and me just being like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
This moment for LAFC's first championship and the manner in which it happened ranks right up there for me. I lost my voice. I couldn't talk. There's a reason why we didn't record this podcast the next day, and it was because as much as I tried, because I tried to text Alex to be like, so when we were hopping on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad we waited to now because I actually had lost my voice from all the screaming of excitement that happened when Bale scored that effing goal.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
In the 128th minute.
Dude.
It was, it was crazy, man.
So
go ahead.
So does Bale get a statue now outside of the stadium?
No. I'll tell you, there's only one statue that I think they've already started building, and that's Carlos Vela's.
Very fitting.
I think deservedly so. I don't know if we want to talk about that, but that's the guy who we basically started our franchise with before we even got a coach.
Yeah.
We first announced who our franchise player was going to be. Obviously, you know, as a Mexicano, that was such a big deal at the time, and arguably still probably the best Mexican player in the game playing soccer right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, his commitment and the expectation, what we had been sold then was, all right, he's going to deliver us a championship at least. Like we're treating this with the respect that you need to if you're going to come in guns blazing, new team, new stadium, you know, creating a buzz already, then all right. And as it's been well documented here already, have done some impressive things.
Yeah.
The guy went mano a mano with Zlatan, MVP, most goals, scored,
Yeah.
has broken records, has delivered us a couple supporter shield, but hadn't delivered us the cup. And now that he's done it, it's like, all right, job. It really for him is job's finished. Like now it's gravy for him. For the squad, we want more.
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
we feel like the window's still open.
Yeah.
But I think for Vela was a big monkey off his back, and I think it warrants at least some type of statue. Definitely jersey retirement already. You can hang his jersey if you want already. That guy, him and Latif Blessing are the only OGs
The only
left.
two, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody else is,
So,
it's crazy.
But Bale, he will, I think, a round of golf on anybody who plays, who sees him in the golf course will always be like, hey, this one's on me, Garrett.
At the Pico Rivera golf course. Check him out, dude.
That's right. Yeah, this one's on me. No, yeah, it was
very
it was
important question here as their fandom for LAFC and how big this is and monumental it is. Like, obviously that can't be like overstated enough how monumental this is for you being there. So how much merch have you bought so far?
Funny enough, actually.
Here we go. This is the big thing.
Here you go. This is the only
The
oh,
t-shirt.
wow, the
Okay.
official
Yeah.
shirt, right?
I remember
Gotta
seeing
get that.
I only got the official shirt, and that's only because the caps, which I love hats, as you know.
As what you're wearing right now.
Exactly. We're kind of mierda, man. Like,
Really?
I don't.
That's rare for LAFC. That's a rare L.
It really is like
That's
generic. Like it has all the like logos, MLS Cup, and all this stuff. And I was just like, I would just buy it just to have it.
Right.
I would never wear that thing. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, I hear you.
I saw the
And so,
T-shirt being advertised. I didn't know they had a hat. Though I
Yeah,
would have thought
they
they have
have
hats. Obviously, there's
yeah,
always hats.
because that's the first thing I was gonna buy. I was
Yeah.
like, take my money.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there will be some more made, maybe
Of
by
course.
not by official, LAFC, but by like other companies.
Yeah.
Fanatics.
Yes, exactly, by Fanatics. So I will up my game there. But
Gotta get the
I tell you
scarf.
what I will get. I will get the New Jersey that has the nice little
Oh, the
estrella.
star
Oh,
on top.
that's the most important piece
That's
of
right.
merch right
Yeah,
there. You're
dude.
That is
absolutely right.
definitely in my cart.
Now
on
we-
my wish list for Christmas.
Now it's
so,
finally worth for LAFC fans to buy the authentic jersey.
That's
'cause
right.
now you can
what's
tell
funny
the
is
difference.
I still had my YouTube branded one.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
from the
right.
day one.
Yeah.
I never cared to buy the Flex, even though it looks clean. I never cared to.
Does it
you know,
though?
Well, now you have to.
It does. But now I have to. Now they got me. So it's.
I would actually say the YouTube TV one looks a little bit better than the Flex. The Flex.
I
one looks a
agree.
little
I agree
odd.
with you. I agree with you. But yeah. And again, let the record state. Day one OG here.
Yes, man.
And this is why this one meant a little more to me, I think. And I'm not no shade at the people that have the Johnny come latelys
of course,
as just tends to happen, not just in soccer it's happening, but just tends to happen in this city or in
Right.
this state where sports, as we've talked about plenty of times, is just like sometimes a second or third option for a lot of people here.
as evident with parking.
Yeah, exactly. With sports, it's just like
As far as tier go down, as far as
Yes.
like the popularity of MLS and
'cause-
it's really interesting. Like really quick, sorry not to cut you off. but,
no. Yeah, please.
You say Johnny come late knees, and you obviously this is like we're saying this cast is for you to gloat and all that, but really
Yes.
it's a victory lap, a well deserved victory lap for you
Yes.
because you are one of those day ones. Like you
Yes,
are
thank you.
there from the beginning,
Mhm.
but like you said, that interaction you have with those kids from Union Station,
Mhm.
how important is that now that the sport is just going to keep growing?
Very,
For kids like that who are new to the sport,
very.
now probably gonna follow more LAFC games.
Yes.
Because they just won a championship. They're from LA. They're gonna root for them now. And now who's to say next time, in 3 years from now, 4 years, especially once the World Cup is here,
Mm-hmm.
if LAFC's in the final again, does USC now get kicked out of their own parking
I
lot?
mean, I hope we come back and we record a podcast at that
Right.
moment because we will have, I'd like to say, been these day ones to make this push.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been covering the rivalry and the sport. I mean, you guys more consistently than I have, at least on this podcast.
Yeah.
Credit to you, Alex, for the moment you dove in with head first.
Right.
You know, like you still were learning more about your
and
team's
I continue,
history.
and I still love it, man. And that's why it hurts as a newer fan. Right. So many Galaxy fans will point back to the first to five, and we've been doing this for so long, and the stupid meme that was going around that since 2018, LAFC 1 Cup, LA Galaxy 0, which hurt me especially because that 2019,
that's when you became a fan.
2019
it was the Alex Jinx that makes sense.
It was.
As soon as you start watching the team that you're rooting for.
It absolutely was. And I'll still continue for years to come support Galaxy and support just MLS as a whole. And I really want to see this fun. I really did. I watched their Austin game and I was really impressed by them. Like, damn, this team. After seeing that performance against Austin, I'm like, this team's gonna win it. Like, I really felt this team was gonna win. I didn't expect the Union to come through as much as they did.
Yeah,
they didn't make it easy, man.
Union is a good team.
Scrappy team. Yeah, I mean, I have a question for you guys because you guys are more glued in or plugged in rather into the Reddits and all of that stuff of your own Galaxy.
The cesspool that is Twitter.
Yes. Yeah. What was that world like when the final whistle blew and LAFC were crowned champions? What were Galaxy fans
I was
saying?
on the Discord just reading because, the commentary's coming in hard. I'm just reading the Discords and literally every fan was like, front
out.
Yeah, they were like, front office needs to do something now. We want announcements right now of new players coming in, players getting out. And then other people were like Alex was saying, the whole first to five. Like a lot of people were like, you know what, we need to stop with the first to five commentary. Like it's pretty obvious now that this league is completely different, and we're not catching up fast enough. So you got a couple like kind of panicky type people that are like, I want them to announce Cabral's gone already and all this stuff. And some superstars coming in, and then you had the others that were like a lot more mellow, like, yo, like this is a big slap in the face to the Galaxy. Like, you know what I mean? Like now they got to understand that, they have a lot of work, like they have the work cut out for them. Like there's no reason why they can't have like better branding, better marketing, given that.
And this is what was being said, or is this what you guys think?
No, this is what's being said. I'm just reading it.
In
my mind, I was watching the game. I was like, dude, that was a hard fought game. Like, I mean, it's just like, again, it could have been either way. I think had LAFC had lost, it would have just been like, they choked or something, right? That's what would have happened. It would have been like the typical like, hey, like. But I think for the most part, a lot of Galaxy fans a lot of people are now fired up about the Rose Bowl game because now it makes it look more interesting, right? And I think
if we needed to make it any more
I know, right?
right?
I don't think it needed any more fuel, but there it is.
For real. So, a lot of fans, it kind of fired them up. I mean, they're hoping that that front office were watching this match and we're watching what LAFC was doing, because it feels like you guys were knocking for so long. And now you kicked the door down and took it. And now the Galaxy can't hold on to this whole like, well, like whatever, like we're still like the most winningest or whatever, like that all
which
goes.
Is
that
true.
all,
which is
it is, but it kind of feels like the league's in a different phase, and the Galaxy have yet to catch up. You know what I mean?
Also true.
I mean, they're trying. Yes. They're like making little moves here. I mean, again, I thought they were pretty impressive for what they did this season. I wasn't expecting them to be that good, like fourth place and all that. And I didn't think that. I thought they were gonna come in and just barely get into the playoffs and see what happened, but. I mean, there were just a couple of pieces away, and I think people understood that. But I mean, some people were overreacting and wanting to throw the kitchen sink and all that. But like,
let's not forget the Galaxy were one extra time or 80th goal, 90th minute goal away.
Like people look back and they were like, they were like, if that defender, I forgot who it was,
Williams.
Was it Williams? No, it was
I remember. Was
it Williams? Right?
And Araujo.
No, but
go ahead.
Yeah, but Williams, if he lets the ball go out, it's a goal kick. But because he touches it,
that was Koulibaly.
Koulibaly, right? Yeah. Koulibaly touches it, so it becomes a corner. The corners, that's where Chicho pokes it in.
That's butterfly.
And they're like,
that happens everywhere.
Right.
If that doesn't happen,
on the set piece, everywhere. The corner kick leaving
Chicho
Arango completely unmarked. Was Williams. Two guys unmarked.
That's tough because that's a remate. That's that's a little harsh.
Well, the thing is,
I mean, that's why he got traded away. He's been traded away now.
Yeah, in the play Koulibaly, all he had to do was just screen the guy. The ball would have just rolled out. It would have been a goal kick. But because he touched the ball, I don't know, but people thought about like what happened, and I'm sure it was like a brain fart. But hey, it happened, so it is what it is. You know.
I mean, I will. I mean, look at Philadelphia. I mean, you think you guys have those issues?
Exactly.
Philadelphia is probably looking at themselves like, "Are you kidding me? We were a minute and a half away from raising the cup ourselves.
Yeah.
Playing a 10-man LAFC squad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With a guy, yes, but this is why, and I sound so cliche, but this is why you go and sign Gareth.
Oh,
Bale.
yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. It made a lot of
moment
sense in that moment.
of magic.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That just, rescued our hopes.
Yeah.
And from being dead.
Yeah.
We're already as fans even in real time. I mean, of course, you're always holding out hope, especially while you're witnessing it live. But you can't help but the thoughts are already creeping in of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Now we're finding new ways to blow it, new ways to not finish the job. We were 8 minutes away from holding the cup. So it's funny hearing you guys talk about if the Galaxy of this and that.
Yeah.
That was about to be us.
Yeah.
And instead it ended up becoming Philadelphia, even worse than what it's been for Galaxy fans because they were so close.
Yeah.
So that's just the beauty and the cruelty of this sport, which we're going to get more of in one short week with the World Cup.
Oh, my God.
And to Alex's point, earlier point about, the sport growing and those casuals who were stumbling out of the bar and were like, hey, now I'm a fan or I'm more into soccer.
Yeah.
I was going to say it really also depends on what the U.S. team can do in this next month. If they can, I'm not saying they don't need to win the cup. That's not realistic. But if they can get out of the group stage and compete, I think that will continue as we head towards now the new World Cup cycle that will be hosted or co-hosted here. And as the MLS continues to grow and get more popular, that will mean a lot for this sport. So that maybe in 4 years, we are talking about, remember that 1 year USC didn't allow LAFC to park? Like
Absolutely.
But we'll see. But this was huge. On the Galaxy front, I will say that I'd be lying because I was talking to, I took my niece and my nephew with me, and I took my cousin, who's a fellow LAFC fan, along with me to the championship game with me. And we were walking back to the train to the train station, and we were like, dude, this is going to be the longest walk ever if the game hadn't ended the way it did.
Yeah.
And then we started reminiscing on the journey to this season, to this cup, and we were like, it does taste a little bit sweeter knowing that we beat the Galaxy on the way to the cup, so that we did knock out the Galaxy to win this cup felt a little bit symbolic.
Yeah.
For this, it puts a stamp on it. It's kind of like if the Dodgers were to knock out the Giants on the way to winning the World Series, you'd be like, fuck yeah. Like that's
this is going back to the beauty and cruelty of sports, as we talked about, as you just brought up. My wounds are barely healing from the Dodgers exit, and then I had more hope with Galaxy, and I'm like, oh, another one. And so that's why my sports threshold is so low. I'm not paying attention to how bad the Rams are, because they are bad.
Yes.
Awful. I see how good the Kings are doing, but I don't want to invest. It's early, and I can't I'm not emotionally healed yet.
Yeah.
I'm not emotionally healed yet. I'm still healing. And next week is, like you said, the World Cup. It's like I have so low expectations for it.
As you should. And
I hear things that,
and this is coming as a fellow L3 fan, by the way.
And I hear things that well, they should tank it. They should really tank it. Like, I can't see that. I don't want to see that happen. Like
L3 tank,
not on purpose.
There is no such thing as tanking a World Cup.
I mean, in a sense, they want to see
draft picks. I don't know.
You're gonna draft
the
number one pick in Mexico.
They mean by tanking. They have such a bad performance that there has to be
Martino's
changes.
already on his way out, and this is already known. So I don't. That's why he's setting a fucking match to the entire team. Because he has nothing to lose.
It's obvious. That's why he took the crappiest team with him.
Exactly.
And nobody's there. He took nobody with him.
And yeah, watch what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Mark this, timestamp this. Donald, be ready to clip this for when it actually happens, just in case it does happen. But when it happens, Mexico's going to look legit against Argentina on that Saturday game at 11 a.m. They're going why? Because Mexico always plays up to their competition, especially when they're the underdog. They're gonna look like, oh man, remember when Mexico was winning 1-0 in that match? But then Messi rescued like the game-winning shot out of his ass, at the very end. And if we would have had that, only to get embarrassed by Poland in the last game.
Well, they played Poland first, Argentina, and then Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, or by Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Flip the script.
I hear you.
This is what's going to happen to not make the group stage or to get to the group stage and get smacked by France or something like that. Like, this happens every 4 years, like clockwork. So, yeah, you're right to go into this with low expectations, especially because this team has not looked good, not even for 2 consecutive games during the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes, you should go in with low expectations. We will have the jersey on. We will be roped in when they look like they compete with Argentina.
I already got it.
Too. Did you get the white and red one?
I got the green one, but I want the white one.
I got the white and red one. I don't.
That was tight.
But
that was tight.
But yeah, that's
why we're going to keep pumping money into them, and they're going to give us a bad performance. But anyway,
I have more hopes in the USA, by the way, than I do.
I was about to say
even though they look like garbage going into this World Cup.
But they're in a slightly more winnable group.
Yeah.
Right?
Whoa. USA, Iran,
England,
Wales. Bales?
Wow.
All you got is Bales.
Bales? Did you not just see what Bales
It's
did?
Bales. It's not Wales, it's Bales. It's
Bales.
one guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
They have a shot.
I only like the USA's chances better than the threes right now because I believe in the talent that USA is putting out there more than I do in the talent that Mexico has out there. Some of it is due to injury. Tecatito, sadly, is not making the World Cup. Again, as documented, Vela is not participating. Even Chicharito at this point, I think would be serviceable for this World Cup roster, and he's not making the trip. So I don't know where we're going to get our,
your all-time leading scorer. You're not taking your all-time leading scorer.
What a joke.
Yeah.
Why are you arguing with facts? Why are you arguing with facts?
But anyways, yes, all that to say, thank you for giving me this platform to take a little bit of a. I'm not. I came on here. I don't want to
deserve it.
I don't want to rub it. It's fine. The league is better when Galaxy they made the playoffs.
The league is better when 2 LA teams, 2 big market teams like Galaxy and LAFC are doing well.
Are in the running. And this year we had that,
Yeah.
Again, the Galaxy, it seemed a little shaky, but they got there. Yeah. They got there and they put up a fight.
Yeah.
And we'll see next year. We'll see. It's a brand new season. They'll roll the ball out and we'll see what happens. I firmly believe our window is still open. There's a couple decisions that are going to have to be made. But I want that CONCACAF Champions League, man. Like that, we had it in our hands once already.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
Tigres just took that from us. But hopefully now with the firepower that we have, we can compete a little more.
So I got to say real quick before I ask you this next question, I'm going to say this because I don't know if I've said this yet.
Sure.
But from an LA Galaxy fan to you, Sonny, congratulations to your LA. Congratulations to your LAFC
this means
for winning
so
their
much.
first ever
Thank you.
MLS Cup. Congratulations.
Thank you. As somebody who recalls, ironically, as somebody who recalls Galaxy's first title, it's kind of weird to like juxtapose it and have that retrospect of my MLS fandom over the years, but to be emotionally invested with a team like LAFC and to kind of enjoy the fruits of that now. Like, I couldn't help but think of how, because when I followed Galaxy back then, I wasn't a Galaxy fan. I was a Jorge Campos fan. So I naturally, because I wanted him to do well, and he was the he was the goalkeeper, which meant him doing well means not giving up any goals, which almost by default means I'm rooting for Galaxy to win in those matches. It's this weird fandom, that evolution that has led me to now. Because once Jorge Campos left, I would only follow as a soccer fan. You know, obviously when you guys signed Robbie Keane and signed David Beckham and you know, like I would follow because I was a fan of the sport, and I'd be like, I want to see how these players are going to do, and to bring the game of MLS up, which to their credit they did. We wouldn't have the league we do today if it wasn't for those Galaxy teams of the late 2000s, early 2010s.
And that's a narrative. That's a narrative that I hate. That's going on LAFC Twitter. Real quick,
I don't watch that shit. Is that still a thing? Elon Musk hasn't deleted that shit?
They're all bots on there. They're not real fans. Is that, yes, we get the league is different. And the 5 championships the LA Galaxy won, the league was completely different.
Yes.
But you could only win championships in the league
in the time
playing.
that you play in. Exactly.
So, I hate that narrative that it's different.
It doesn't discredit it. I think that's people trying to water it down.
Right.
When it's the equivalent of, you can't compare Bill Russell to Michael Jordan because they just played in 2 different eras. They were both GOATs in their own right. We, in the modern game, obviously, the era that Michael Jordan played more closely resembles still the league that we watch now, although it's starting to fade because with these 3-point shots, it's fucking ridiculous. But it still more closely resembles, 30 teams. You pretty much know what you're getting now. The fandom is there. So that's why it's hard for us to like go back to the Bill Russell ones and be like, well, Bill Russell's clearly the GOAT, because when it's like, that was such a different league, and it was just, but it's not to water them down. It just means it wasn't the same thing. So Galaxy dominated and they represented the league well. They're still the premier franchise technically when it comes to the being synonymous with MLS. If that makes sense.
Of course.
I just think the game has grown so much now in the States domestically that it has moved on. It's like the next chapter or 2 from what that era was, that it makes it hard to compare. And of course, an LAFC fan's going to want to water that down because most of these LAFC fans are Johnny-come-latelys and don't fucking remember what the Galaxy did. They weren't paying attention. So how could they even try to water that down? They're just looking at a spreadsheet and being like, oh, they won it in 2002 or 2003. You know how long ago that? It's like, come on, guys. If you weren't paying attention, don't try to water it down. Because I saw those games. I saw the first final. That Galaxy, I felt for Galaxy fans back then because, again, a part of me was on the train with them just from the Jorge Campos aspect. I loved Mauricio Cienfuegos, Kobe Jones, those Welton, the list goes on. Even when El Matador joined the team, Luis Hernandez, like those were players because of the affinity for El Tri and stuff like that. You wanted them to do well, and you would see they couldn't find a way to deliver the cup, which was maddening because it was like, what the fuck, you guys are loaded. How are you losing to these guys from? Like, it was like the equivalent of
LAFC the last few years.
You guys were the LAFC, which is the irony for me in both fan bases. In the LAFC fans trying to water down what the Galaxy did, and in Galaxy fans being like, well, 5-1. It's like, dick, it took you guys 7 years when you guys were the most talented team for that whole time to win your first title. What the fuck are we talking about here?
No, of course. So Sonny, before we wrap up this conversation, I wanted to ask you one more thing, and that is thoughts on LAFC repeating next season.
Man, of course, I think it's. I guess according to Vegas, they're the favorites to repeat right now or to win the MLS Cup for the 2023 season.
Okay.
So you definitely have to say it's a strong possibility. It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, coming off of a World Cup season, obviously other teams are going to retool, including yours, I'm assuming. I don't see us making too many more moves based off of the moves we just made in the last, window. I'm going to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I do think we obviously have what it takes to win another. It's so hard in this league where parity is really a thing that exists. There's a reason why it's been rare for there to be back-to-back champs. In MLS, as we were talking earlier, it's a new league. It was more common earlier in the league, but lately now in the last 10 years, I'd be hard pressed to find who the last back-to-back champ was. And Alex, you might have to Google this.
I think it might be Sounders or something, right?
I don't even think they went back-to-back, to be honest. I think they won 2 out of 3 is what the Sounders did, or 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
But so it's for that reason alone that I'm a little hesitant to definitely pronounce here, like, yeah, baby, we're winning this back-to-back.
Yeah.
But I do like our chances as much as any other team who's won the title to come back. I like our chances better.
Yeah.
Than those guys. But we'll see. I'm going to enjoy this one for a little bit. Do you have the data, Alex?
Oh yeah, 2006, 2007, Houston Dynamo.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh,
when
okay.
it was a different league.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
So
does Vela stay with you guys through the end of next year? Is that how long his contract is signed for? And then he goes to Club America.
I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if Vela hangs it up.
Really?
Yeah. If depending on what we're able to do here, if we're able to get another trophy or two, and by trophy I mean not MLS Cup only, I mean either CONCACAF or dare I say Club World Cup, which would be amazing if we played against, I guess it would be who won? Was it Chelsea that won the last Champions League? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess Chelsea's in there.
Yeah, I think they won. Yeah, that's right.
They won the Club World Cup, right?
Yeah.
After winning that Champions League. So whoever wins this next Champions League is potentially an LAFC foe.
Arsenal.
So it'll and then there's that new tournament that's happening next summer, I believe.
That's right. The one with Liga MX.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there are a couple titles out there that I think if Vela's able to get his hands on 1 or 2 more, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if that guy walks away from the sport.
What have you heard that LAFC is doing with their third DP spot?
Nothing yet.
Nothing.
Rumors abound, but nothing. I think we need to figure out what we're going to do with Chicho Arango first. That guy is so crucial to our success that I think we have to sort that out first before, and then we have to see if Gareth Bale is going to play out. What's that going to look like after the World Cup? Is he still going to be motivated to play soccer? He's another guy who, so I'm curious. I'm curious. There are some moves out there, but because of the strong brand that we do have, we have a pool, and you never know. I would not be surprised if Ronaldo ends up, in the MLS next season. It very well could be that he's on the Galaxy. It very well could be that he ends up at Inter Miami. Obviously, all signs point to Messi landing in Miami.
Yeah.
But I would not put it past my club to find a way by shifting one player here or there, and suddenly the unthinkable is happening, and I'm rooting for Ronaldo on a weekly basis.
Could you would obviously find yourself rooting for him at that point.
Of course. If I could find a way to root for Richard Sherman after all those years, then I can definitely find a way to root for Cristiano Ronaldo coming to LAFC. Yeah. Speaking of Richard Sherman and the 49ers, by the way, quick shout out to my Niners for getting the dub against the wounded Bolts. By the way, sorry, apologies, Donald, to your squad.
Good,
but
I was watching it. Fourth quarter, I was like, "Yeah, this is done. They're done. Like, there's nothing left in the tank for this team." But
I mean, Kyle Shanahan was trying to keep you guys in the game. I will say that. But but yeah, we football. Shout out to football season because that's still. From football to football.
I mean, as a Rams fan and seeing how terrible they are this year, I couldn't believe. I knew the games against the 49ers are always tough, and that it was just amazing. This last one a couple of weeks ago at SoFi, or Levi South, as you guys like to call it.
That's right. Get it right.
Was just bad. I mean, it was a perfect mix of your 49ers are starting to click now with Christian McCaffrey. and the 49 and the Rams rather being just completely and utterly lost. Just freaking lost out there on the field.
Super Bowl hangover, as they say, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Again, another league where it's hard to repeat.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Hey, yeah, I take no. It only makes me chuckle to see the Rams struggle. I don't relish it or anything like that. It's just kind of like, the league's better. Although I will say, I am having a little bit of a throwback feeling to now go head to head with the Seahawks. Essentially, this is the premier NFC West rivalry. And even though the Rams occupied that space with us, for maybe 2 years or 2.5 if you count the beginning of this season, a part of me is excited to have the Seahawks back in there. It just feels right, where it's like, oh yeah, this is the team I fucking hate. I thought I didn't like the Rams, but no, this is the team I can't
You're
stand.
Annoyed by the Rams. I think you actually hate the Seahawks. Oh, that's hilarious, man. Well, once again, Sonny, congratulations to you and to only you. I'm just kidding. Congratulations to you and to LAFC. Well, hard fought. 5 years to get here, right?
Yes.
5 years, but
5 years
in those 120 plus minutes into the PKs, it was all worth it, right?
Yes, it was, man. It was. I'm just glad to have been there, and thank you. I appreciate it, man. I know you guys, like to bust my balls a little bit from time to time, come MLS season.
Yeah.
But now at least, people can put a little more actual respect on the name, because what they can't take away is we're champions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate it, boys. We will do this again. Hopefully a World Cup version.
Absolutely, yes. Man, for sure. Just that's it.
Because that's the only thing Alex has going for him right now that he wants to talk about.
That's my emotions are almost ready. It'll be ready in about a week, and I'll deal with it all over again. I'm ready for the pain again.
Predictions though, because by the time we record this again, the World Cup will be well underway.
Yes.
So let's get our predictions now.
Quick hot takes. Winner. How far does that Mexico and USA go? D-Bot first.
Yes.
Winner for
the entire thing.
The
World
entire
Cup.
thing. Man, I haven't looked at the rankings lately. I know usually that helps me guide, but
this is, by the way, the time of the year where all the Salvadoreños put on their Brazil jerseys, their Argentina jerseys. This is when it happens. D-Bot, you got the dual affinity. So
yeah.
I don't know
that half and half jersey
here.
I know, man. I mean, dang, dude. I mean, it feels like if it's a Latino team, it's got to be Brazil or Argentina, right? It feels like everybody else just falls up, doesn't meet they're not up to par, and it feels like it ends up becoming a European team taking it. Man, but the European teams, I'm not 100% up to, knowledge with who has the strongest team, even with the Euros and stuff. France
on paper is the strongest European team, even though they're dysfunctional.
Yeah, right. I mean, Mbappe is just a super strong guy. I guess if I had to just shot in the dark, I would say Germany would win it all.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know what I know they got a bit of a younger squad coming in. A lot of their older guys that won it the last time they won the World Cup are already phased out. But I always feel like Germany is always in it, man. Like they're always they got this. Yep. They always get a good crop of guys that can compete. And I don't know. I feel like I would say them would take it all. And then hopes for Mexico.
Not hopes, predictions. No, we all have hopes for Mexico or USA.
But, I kind of hate to say this, but I don't think they're gonna make it to the knockout. I feel like Poland and Argentina, given there's this huge narrative right now with it being Messi's last World Cup, that I feel like it's gonna weigh really heavy on the expectation for Argentina. So with that, and Poland having Lewandowski and a couple other guys that are pretty good, I think like it would I think it'd be one of those things where if Mexico gets into the knockout phase, I feel it'll be one of those things where they have to hope that the other team, messes up or something. Like you get a couple of draws and wins, and then hopefully you get in because other teams lose and you get in by points. USA, I feel, do have a shot. I think them and England can advance. I feel like Wales, Bale is good, but Bale's, you're going against the best in the world right now, and Bale's he's been kind of checked out, and I think that
except when he plays for Wales.
Yeah.
Except when he plays for Wales, he
shows up,
showing up consistently for that team only. Really, I mean, and that sounds a little bit harsh because he's had some injuries, especially down the stretch with LAFC. So it's not necessarily that he was checked out, but you can ask. It begs the question: well, why is he getting injured? Is it because he's checked out in the way he's training or preparing? That'd be a fair question. But when it comes to Wales, that guy balls. And this is his first and obviously probably last World Cup. So I expect him to try to put that team on his back.
So do you have
with
USA
that said,
I have group stage?
Then I have Wales and England going forward. USA will put up a good fight.
Ooh. USA and Mexico are just happy to be there, huh? All right. Real quick, Sonny, because I'll let you finish this up. I think winner it's got to be Argentina. Messi's gonna finally get it.
Wow.
Messi's gonna finally get it. And the reason I say this is I was with my heart rooting for him.
Yes.
But also going with FIFA 23 simulation has predicted
right. Against Portugal, right?
I think so, right? Yeah, I think that's what it went to. That's right. Which was surprising.
Would be wild.
Yes, imagine the Ronaldo Messi matchup. But yeah, I got Argentina winning, and I got Mexico not getting out of the group stage. I feel like you
barely meaning they have 4 points, but on goal differential they
weird
bounced?
like that where they decide to ball out for the Argentina game, like you said.
Yeah,
they for some reason the heartbreaking loss to Poland, and then of course they barely beat Saudi Arabia. Yeah, barely beat them, and obviously that's why they don't make it. Like they tie Argentina, lose to Poland, tie Argentina, win Saudi Arabia, don't advance. For USA, I see actually USA beating Wales. I see them drawing England, and then beating Iran and getting out of the group stage. After that, I don't see them. I think the group stage, round of 16 elimination. That's what I got.
Okay, interesting. All right, so I'll finish it off. I can say, okay, my pick to win. I think Brazil is too talented. I think they're going to win the entire World Cup this year. Their players are ready for this moment. They have just the right amount of experience, and as much as I like France, I think there's a lot of dysfunction there. I mean, they are the defending champs. I would love nothing more. My heart would love nothing more than to see Messi hoist that trofeo.
Right.
But I just think Brazil has too much. What I'm praying for is a Brazil-Argentina either final or semifinal, because that would be epic. But I just think Brazil has too much firepower. I will say that my dark horse is Spain. Not a big dark horse, but obviously because they are a former World Cup winner. But I like Spain, man. I like their squad. A lot of young guys. I like their coach Luis Enrique. Look out for them. They're in the same group as Germany, so that should be interesting.
That's gonna be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as El Tri and USA, well, as I documented earlier, my expectations are epically low for El Tri. Probably the lowest they've ever been since I've been watching soccer as a kid for this version of El Tri that's representing for us in Qatar. I don't think they're getting out of the group. I think they are probably going to draw Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
I think they're going to lose to Argentina, and they may draw Poland
Oh yeah,
They may have 2 points to show for.
I see that. I can see that too. Very true.
That won't be enough.
It'd be good if they draw Poland. You know.
It would, but not if they draw Saudi Arabia.
Right,
No,
right.
they have
Would-
to
and-
beat Saudi Arabia.
And with the result, like drawing Poland, it gives them a little bit more of like, like
we have a
gusto
chance.
against
Yeah,
Argentina.
If we just beat this, that's the epic collapse that I'm telling you about. They're gonna look very strong against Argentina, maybe even have the lead at one point, and we'll be like, oh, they're gonna smash Saudi Arabia and they're gonna get into the group, only to draw Saudi Arabia at the end to not make it out of the group.
Absolutely.
And as for the USA, I think they will get out of the group. As much as I was waxing poetic about Bale and how he balls with Wales, I just think USA will get in as the second team after England. I think their talent finally puts it together. As long as Pulisic shows up, that is what I'm banking on. And then I think they get bounced in the quarters.
I'm just looking forward to like this holiday weeks of games that start at 2 a.m. Thanksgiving week. Games start at 2 a.m.
Yes.
through the morning.
And 2 a.m., 5 a.m., 8 a.m., 11 a.m.
It's just amazing. Just amazing, man.
And then we'll have football in the evening. We'll have basketball in the evening. Yes, it's what a time.
What a time to be alive, guys. We're it's an embarrassment.
Humanitarian rights aside, for the whole Qatar,
I mean,
thing.
that's a whole nother podcast.
That
which you
is a
should check
whole
out.
other,
It's World Corrupt. Check it out.
yes.
Shout out.
But how can you not watch, the tournament just from a fan of the sport?
course.
I'm
Yeah,
not a fan of
absolutely.
the politics and obviously everything that goes behind the things that it takes to put a World Cup together like this. But just from a pure soccer standpoint, of course, I'm excited. Yeah.
And just think, guys, like it was just hitting me earlier this weekend that we're a week away from the World Cup. Like it's gonna happen already. It's
crazy.
time. So that means, and because it started in winter this year, this time around, we're less than 4 years away from it
Correct.
being here.
Yeah.
from it being here.
Oh my God, man! Like you
Yes.
said, what a time!
What
What
a
a
time.
time, man!
Yes.
Oh,
And
man.
hopefully USC doesn't play at the same time as the World Cup that we host here, and we should be okay.
We'll just ship.
For real.
We'll have everybody park in San Diego and bust them up.
That's right.
Oh man, D-Bot, Sonny and Mono, thank you guys again for joining me today and talking all this sports, man. Like you said, what a time! What a time! That's it, guys. That's it for us this week. See ya.
See ya.
Later.